Okay, so let's go and grab 8.534 by 4.8 inches document, and then landscape 300 resolution pixel per inch, and then let's set this guy to 16-bit for more image quality. Okay, so let's go and click create. All right, so let's go for a solid color. So let's grab, I'll just paste in this hex code. All right, then click OK. All right, so I'll go ahead and create a new layer on top of this, and then I'll grab the brush to right click for this pop-up panel. I'll increase the size of the brush, then I'll make sure it's a soft round brush. Okay, all right, then I'll go ahead and choose a yellow color from the color picker up here. If you can't find yours, you can just come down here and change it from the foreground color. All right, okay, then I'll make sure the flow is set to 100% and opacity too is set to 100%, and then I'll click in the middle for this glow light. Okay, all right, so I think this is cool, but we'll add more. So let's go and bring in the image of the product. Educational purpose only. This is actually fictional. All right, so let me rotate it this way, and then I'll increase it a little bit. All right, so I think this is cool. All right, so let's go and bring in the chocolate twist image. So I'll drop it and rotate it like this. Okay, and then I'll go and bring the bottle layer on top, and then we adjust the chocolate behind it, just like this. Okay, then we'll send it back again, and then try and tweak it a little bit. Okay, now we need to make the chocolate look like it's going around the bottle. Okay, so someone might use layer mask, whereby they will grab the brush tool and then start hiding the areas that goes behind it like this, but adding shadows and stuff will make it difficult. Okay, so we are going to cut the areas that we want to come on top of the bottle out into a new layer, and then we take it from there. So what I'll do is I will just undo the layer mask and then come over here and then grab the polygonal lasso tool like this. So I'm going to select the area that I want and then cut it out. Now, after making your selection, you just come up here and then click select a mask, and then we are not going to change anything. We're just going to increase the smooth slider a little. So let's say 1 or 2. Okay, and then we click OK for there. So there's a change of mind. We are not going to cut. We're going to copy into a new layer. So press Ctrl J on the keyboard, and then you copy it into a new layer. All right, so if I use the move tool, you can see we have this, and also we have the original in place. All right, so we are going to do the same thing for here and then here too. All right, so I'll grab the polygonal lasso tool again, and then this time make sure the original is selected. Okay, right now the copy is selected, so make sure you select the original and then you copy from it, else you get an error. Select a mask, and then we set the smooth to 2, then we click OK, then Control J. All right, the reason why you need to select, you make sure the original image layer is selected is that if I select this and I try to copy into a new layer, it will tell me that the selection is what empty. So we need to select the original, and then we copy this from it. Okay, so now we have our copy over there. So let me just do the last one over here. Then we go to select a mask, and then we set the smooth to 2, and then okay. All right, so we need to make sure we select the original image and copy from it. All right, so we have this. Okay, so now we need to grab the move tool, and then let's come and drag the bottle on top of the original. Now you can see this effect right here. So let me just shift this guy a little bit. All right, now let's come and select the original image layer, and then let's add an exposure adjustment layer. Let's clip it, and then decrease the exposure, and then also increase the gamma correction. All right, then let's come and select the layer mask here, Control I to invert, grab the brush, and then let's start adding some shadow. Let's darken the inner part, okay, because there is no light hitting at that place, so it has to be black. Okay, so I'll decrease the flow and then have a smooth transition of shadows over here. And I'll just do the same thing down here. Then I'll select the layer and then add another exposure. This time I'll make it more darker than the first one. Okay, so I'll just hit Control I to invert, and then I'll try and hide that groundnut over there, and then add a little one down here. Okay, so now let's come and then group these copies together. Okay, so I'll hold shift on the keyboard and select the third one below, and then group them together so you can hide them at the same time. Now let's add exposure. Let's clip it into this group, and then let's set the exposure to -2.0, and then set the gamma to 0.79. All right, then after that we hit Control I to invert it, and then we grab the brush to make sure foreground is white. Okay, and then we start adding shadows below here where we think the light source might be coming from here, so here has to be dark. And always try to lower the flow so that you get a very soft shadows here. Then after that, let's go and select the bottle layer, and then let's add an exposure. Okay, so let's decrease the exposure and then increase the gamma correction a little bit. And then from there, let's clip it so that it affects only the bottle, and then hit Control I on the keyboard to invert. Then let's grab the brush tool, and then with foreground white, let's start adding some shadows below here. So let's increase the flow a little bit so that we get some sharp shadows. Let's tweak the flow. Okay, as we brush, we tweak the flow to get the precise shadows that we want. All right, so I will just brighten up the name over there. All right, let me add some shadows here too. All right, so let's create another exposure adjustment layer. All right, and then let's clip it into this layer below. Then let's increase the exposure a little bit, okay, so that we have some brightness there. And then let's hit Control I to invert. And then let's grab our brush, foreground white, and then let's just dab on the where the name is so that the light pops out bit by bit. Okay, we don't want too much highlight over there, so that's okay. And then let me just tap here for some brightness. I think that would be a result of light bouncing from the floor and then hitting back, whatever, but this is not helping, so I think I'll stop. And then let me add curves adjustments layer on top, clip it, okay, and then let me just drag it here into the darkness of the sheets, and then Control I invert, grab my brush, and then let me start adding some shadows down here. Okay, All right, so after this, we're going to select the first exposure on this bottle, and then you try highlighting just the tip of the bottle below here. I don't know, but you're just adding some light down here. Okay, as I said, light bouncing from the ground then back to the bottle or something like that. If it is not helping, then stop. Yeah, but I think this is not helping, so let me just go ahead and undo that. All right, so I've gotten rid of that. Now let's go straight into our root folder. Did I say root folder? Let's go into our images folder and then bring this chocolate and let's drop it here. All right, so I'm going to place it on top of this chocolate, and then I'll go into the layers panel and then select the exposure, the mask of the exposure on top of the chocolate quail. All right, so I'll select the mask and then grab the brush tool and then make sure foreground is white. Okay, then I'll start adding some shadows below this chocolate to make it look like it's touching the chocolate quail. Okay, so I'll leave that down, and then on top of that I'll create a curves adjustment layer. This is on top of the chocolate cube. Okay, so I'll just drag it down a little. Make sure you clip it into the chocolate cube. Control I, invert, or if you want, you just leave it and use foreground black to just highlight the tip of that. So at the end of this, you know where to leave the highlight. Okay, so you can just play with that, or you can invert and then do just as I did. So I'll bring this guy in. I'll just resize it and then place it somewhere here. Now let's go and click OK. Let's go and add layer mask. On this layer, grab the brush, foreground black, and then let's clean the bottom here so that looks like it's in that chocolate quail. Okay, so after this, we are going to add an exposure. Okay, so let's come here, click, and then choose exposure. Make sure you clip it into this layer below. All right, Control I, invert, grab your brush, foreground white, and then let's start adding some shadows over here. And then let's go and select the exposure on the chocolate quail once again, and then let's add some shadows right here using the foreground white. Okay, so we have this, and let's quickly go back into our images folder and bring another chocolate cube. Okay, let me drop it here and then quickly resize it and place it down here. All right, click OK, and then let's go to filter from the top here. Then let's move down and select blur, and then down here we have motion blur. Right, now let's set the angle to 50, and then let's set the distance to 17. Okay, and then let's click OK. All right, so we need to bring in another chocolate cube, so let's grab this guy right here. Let me drag and drop it. All right, let's place it here. Let's go to filter, motion blur again, angle -18, and then you can set the distance to, let's say, 78. Okay, and then go ahead and click OK. Now where this guy is facing, there's no light there, so let's add an exposure adjustment layer. Clip it to this cube, decrease the exposure a little, increase the gamma correction, Control I, and invert, and then grab your brush, and then let's start adding some shadows. So if you are still watching and you haven't subscribed, you are one of those who are making me want to stop making videos. All right, so kindly subscribe and hit the bell so that you don't miss any of my videos. Right, we can also make 100k subscribers if you do subscribe to this channel. Maybe you don't know how it feels when you come back to your creator dashboard and then you see one person subscribe to your channel. It feels great, so kindly subscribe. All right, so let's go to filter, and then let's add motion blur. So you can set the angle to -50, and then 40 something distance. You're cool. Let's bring this guy inside here. We are just adding chocolate cubes, and you just need to follow along. All right, so if you don't like chocolates, get some chocolates and eat chocolates. remember this is a fictional fly. I'm not promoting chocolate, but it's good to eat chocolate, you know. Where I come from, chocolate it's kind of expensive, so we only eat that on Valentine's Day, you know. Kind of funny. All right, so with this one, we are not going to add motion blur. We are going to add what we call path blur. So let's go to filter. Down here you have blur gallery, and then down here you have path blur. Click on that. Now let me collapse this panel here. Now drop this down and select res sync flash, okay, and then the speed you can set it to 86%, and then this taper or taper, I would say whatever. So let's set that to 16. Now this guy, just click on it. You can even change it, but let's hit delete on the keyboard to get rid of that, and let's start our new one. So click and drag in any direction that you want, but this time it's actually going this way, so you want it to come down. So let's click from here and drag it down, and you can see the flash speed something is coming down in that direction. Okay, so you can play with the handle over there, right? Or you can increase the points and stuffs like that, right? Just like this. Now let's make it look like the speed is very high. Okay, let's forget about that, and let's go and bring this leaf inside this. Let's resize it and place it here. All right, let me click OK, and then let's go and add motion blur. All right, I'm not saying out the figures. Okay, click OK. Just do what you see. This time it's yours. It's your turn to do. I'll spell out the figures. So just duplicate this leaf and then place it. Make sure it's smaller, just like this, and then keep duplicating. All right, now let's come and duplicate this one right here, and then let's increase the size. Place it here. Click OK. Now if you check on the layer, you can see at the bottom below it, you see motion blur. Just double click on that, and this panel will pop up so that you can make changes to the one that's already there. Just increase the distance a little. Now with the leaf layer still selected, let's add exposure adjustment layer on top. Decrease the exposure, and then grab the brush. This time we are not inverting. Okay, we just grab the brush, foreground black, and then we just highlight the tip or clean the shadows at the tip here. Okay, so that's good. Now let's go in and then bring a new leaf, same leaf though, but we want a new one. Okay, so let's resize it, then let's place it here. Now let's right click and then choose warp from here. Now let's drag this handle at the bottom here up like this. Okay, click OK from the top. Then let's go and add motion blur. So go to filter. The first one is the previous filter you used, that's motion blur. So let's click OK and apply that. Let me decrease the size a little. Then let's go ahead and duplicate, and then after that I'll just tweak the positions a little. All right, so let me place this guy here and then this guy here. All right, so let's go back into the images folder and bring the star leaf here. All right, so let's squeeze it to the bottom right. All right, then after that let's go to filter, motion blur. Let's set the angle to 50 and then 45, distance, click OK. All right, so let's add an exposure, clip it, decrease the exposure, and then grab the brush. You're not inverting. Grab the brush, foreground black, and then we just highlight the tip of the leaves. Is it a leaf or a leaves? Pair of leaves on a leaf. Can go ask William Shakespeare. All right, so we have this, and then the next thing that we need to do is add the last image, and that has to come below the copy that we made from the original coiled chocolate. Okay, so let's go and select that. All right, so below this is the coil that we copied. Okay, so below it that will comes the this image. Okay, so let's drag it in What was this? Is it malt or something? Is it rice? Let me know the name of this in the comment section, and I have a bunch of stock images and fonts for you. All right. All right. So I'll leave that here and then add the layer mask, and then let's clean this part that's coming out from here. We don't like that, so we're gonna clean that, and then add some shadows on top. Okay, so I'll just leave this guy here, and then let's go and add an exposure adjustment layer, clip it, lower the exposure. Okay, and then we are not going to invert, so let's grab the brush foreground black. Okay, we've tried the foreground white for a very long time. Let's try the foreground black. Okay, so I'm just cleaning the top to receive light. Okay, so what we are going to do is add light, but it's not going to be ambient light. So let's scroll down, select the first light that we made, and then with the brush to hold down Alt on a keyboard, and then you can sample like any color. So if you hold down Alt, it changes to the eyedropper, and then you can sample the yellow color. Then you just click here to add some lights at the background. Okay, but this is not going to be ambient. That's the ones that you see coming out from a certain direction, and then you will see that there are particles in the light. I don't know how to explain it, but if you know ambient light, you know what I'm talking about. This is not going to be that. Okay, we are just glowing out the background, and then we just highlight the parts that face in the light. There is no specific light rays in this. Okay, I'll show you at the end, but for now highlight the background like this, and then come and create a new layer on top. Okay, now let's grab the brush tool, go for the brush tool, and then right click for this brush panel, and then squeeze it down. I believe you know how to squeeze it down. You've watched some of my videos. Okay, if it is not that thin, like thin thin, squeeze it down a little more, and then let's sample this color and drag it. Not all that black. Okay, so let's add some shadows down here. Now let's click. All right, and let me undo that. Let's click again. I have this one that's very skinny, so I'll use that, because where the bottle comes closer to the ground will be more darker than the other part that's above the ground, way above the ground. So that one will be a little bit lighter. So the focus will be at the bottom of the bottle. Okay, that's closer to the ground. Then let's go to the very top and then create an exposure there. So I'll just create a new exposure adjustment layer, then I'll drag it until it becomes like the sun, then hit Ctrl I on the keyboard to invert this. Very good. Now I don't need this. I'll just grab a normal soft round brush, then I'll start adding some highlights. Now you can see that the product is in front of a glow light in the background. Okay, but since this doesn't call for ambient or any light rays, we just need to highlight the edges to make it look like there's some source of light coming out from here, but there's no particles or that kind of small smoke effects that comes from light. I don't know if you've seen what I'm talking about before. If you haven't, check a light, a very high light. Okay, so I'm just highlighting the tips, okay, that I think light will touch. Why am I talking too much? You get it, but I'm still talking. I don't know. I have a feeling that those who are still watching and enjoying this tutorial but haven't subscribed are making me talk too much. I don't know. I just have the feeling. So if you're one of them, kindly subscribe, hit the bell. I got more stunning designs coming up your way. All right. I love you all. Okay, you should subscribe for me to motivate me. I have very loyal fans out there, especially a guy named Lu Shaw or something. Is it Law Shaw or Lu Shaw? I don't know if it is you. Let me know in the comments. And Sade as that guy, he's kind of funny. All right, just giving out small shout outs. Okay. And another one goes to Wheezy. I don't know if he's Lil Wayne or something. I don't know if he raps, rapper turned graphic designer. So let's go ahead and add some touches on this. So I'll keep up the highlighting, just bring them down a little. All right, so I'm just going to show you what I meant when I was saying you're not going to have an ambient light. Okay, so if you check this design right here, you can see the rays of light and then those smoke particles in there. All right, but this one isn't like that. It's just highlight the background and then highlights the product. Okay, so leave your name in the comment section and I'll give you shout outs in my next video. All right, like this video. If you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe. Those who haven't subscribed, that are making me talk too much. I love you all. Thanks for watching and I'm out. Peace.